So here we are on the highest motorable road in the world. Even though it's snowing, temperature is 3 degrees and wind varying from 10 kilometers per hour to 5 kilometers per hour. How did you like your return gift or treat?
I love it. This is the maximum snow I've seen in my life.
Your
I've been
life.
telling you since day one.
Now go make a snowman. No?
I know what to make.
After a brief stop at Khardungla, we set off for Hundar. As we started our descent, the sun came out in full force, forcing us to remove all our layers. So these, madam, are the mighty dunes of Hundar, and we are going to go dune bashing today.
Thanks for adding a new word to my vocabulary, but what exactly is it?
Dune bashing is just exploring and having fun in the dunes. Riding on the dune is all about flotation, and that is achieved by reducing tire pressure to 15 psi. It's just a little different from conventional off-roading. Dude, this is too much! God, stop it! Momentum. It's all about momentum. Swati was beginning to enjoy the fun we were having thanks to the capability of the Mahindra Scorpio. Dune bashing in Ladakh is a whole new experience.
Who could have imagined?
Look at those.
That's what, yeah.
Double-humped camels.
Oh,
The Bactrian double-humped camels that came to India and Ladakh via the Silk Route. And they're coming straight for us. I'm trying all animal sounds I know. For most tourists, the Bactrian double-humped camels are the main attraction of Nubra Valley. Originally from Bactria in Central Asia, these camels have a high degree of tolerance for cold, drought, and high altitudes. They were used extensively as pack animals by traders of the Silk Route. After the closure of the Silk Route, it is believed that some of these camels were let off into the wild, and that's how these are today found in Hundar. However, in recent times, they have been domesticated and are used to give rides to tourists.
I think this whole journey for me has been first time for so many things.
But the thing that I keep telling myself is to be flexible when you're on the road, because when you're on the road, the idea is to enjoy the journey and not worry too much about the destination.
The next day, we set out to Lukung on the banks of the Pengong Tso. Getting out of Leh, we found the road to be lined at places with white walls topped with flat stones that had inscriptions on them. These stones or tablets are known as money stones, and most have inscribed on them the Tibetan and Ladakhi Buddhist prayer, Om Mane Padme Om, which loosely translates into Hail to the jewel in the lotus. These stones are intentionally placed along roads and rivers as an offering to the spirits. Today we're going to Pengong Tso. This place is so beautiful. I just want to soak it in. In fact, I want us to witness the divinity of nature in its purest form. It's exquisite.
Wow, girl, you almost sound poetic today, yeah?
Wait till you see this place.
I'm so excited to see it now.
Let's go. At Karu, we turned left towards Shakti and Durbuk before starting the climb to Changla. As soon as we began the climb to Changla, I noticed Swati showing faint signs of AMS.
No, my stomach's starting to hurt.
For the first time in so many days, we got stuck due to a landslide. With space just wide enough to let one vehicle pass by, a bit of bad timing results in getting stuck. So it's important to keep an eye out in the distance for oncoming vehicles. This especially comes in handy when faced by an army convoy that is coming from the opposite direction.
क्या हो रहा है?
अरे थोड़ा बहुत काम हो रहा है।
तो इससे पहले लैंडस्लाइड हुआ था?
हाँ वहाँ पे थोड़ा सा हुआ था तो हो गया ना, साफ हो गया।
अच्छा, टाइम कितना लगेगा खोलने में? ठीक है, okay. And I can sense why you're probably feeling a little unwell because this is clearly the toughest climb for two reasons. One, as you can see, there's a lot of loose rock on the left and the right. And two, the condition of the road is very bad.
Changla Pass is considered to be the third highest motorable pass in the world, and it is the main gateway to the Changthang Plateau.
Ooh, Swathi, check this out. Ramna, come on. Come on.
And to add to the history of this place, soon it will be known as the place where my co-traveler let her germophobic guard down and actually chewed an icicle that I broke off from the hand railing. Similar to our experience at Khardungla, as we started our descent to Tangse, the climate changed dramatically.
It's lovely terrain, good. It's Hampi meets the Grand Canyon, meets Rajasthan, meets the Deccan Plateau. It's just like so many things. Absolutely.
Marmots are large, oversized ground squirrels living in this treeless, harsh terrain. The Himalayan marmot lives in colonies of varying sizes, from 4 to 40, in deep burrows that can keep them warm even in sub-zero temperatures. In winter, they go into hibernation. Over the years, marmots seem to have become human-friendly and can be seen freely roaming around, oblivious of our prying eyes. The Pingongso is a beautiful saltwater ocean-like lake that spreads 5 kilometers wide at its broadest and about 134 kilometers long, with about 60% extending into Tibet. A perfect end to this journey was setting up camp in daylight and having time at hand to relax and take in the beauty of Pingongso. The second leg of our journey ended rather well. Things did go according to plan for a change. Tomorrow is another day and another adventure awaits us.